Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Thursday night. It is above the cushion night here for Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. We're going to kind of recap what happened last weekend before we get into our two guests sitting here with us live in the Ulick Music Studio. So we had a great weekend of weekly championship points action at Humboldt Speedway. It was a fantastic night, and if you were there with us, I want to thank you for spending your Friday night with us. At Humboldt Speedway, it was Erie, Kansas night. So all the Erie, Kansas residents over at Humboldt, appreciate you being there. Enjoyed having you, and hope to see you back. For a few more nights as well. As I pull up my results here, I do apologize. Getting everything going. Computer died on me, so I had to do a little reset as well. So Erie, Kansas night over at Humboldt Speedway. Four classes in contention. Andy Bryant picked up the win for Ray's Metal Depot USRA B mods. It was a heavily contested dispute with Tyler Kidwell for all 20 laps in that one, but Andy Bryant got him at about 2 laps to go in that one. So good to see Andy Bryant as he went on and raced the late model Saturday night. Don't have a result on that one, but we will talk about late models here in just a minute. Jordan Beard picking up a win from Liberal, Missouri in the 2J car for Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod Series. And then Home Savings Bank Factory Stock, of course, Dallas Joyce picking up the win and makes it 6 on the season, 5 in a row. Jacob Ellison looking sporty in that 21 car. He led quite a bit of the race, got held up by a lap car, and Dallas Joyce got by him. But it was an absolutely awesome night for stock car racing, and we're looking forward to more in the season. Clint Hagler picks up a win for Wilson Automotive Mini Stock and Tuners. Another great race as he kind of checked out on the field, had about a 5-second lead at one point, got caught up in some lap traffic. The rest of the field caught up to him, but just not enough. Justin Day in the 2D car, a new entry over there to Wilson Automotive Mini Stock and Tuners. Tried to catch him, but just ran out of laps. Clint Hagler picking up the win. Then we move on to Saturday right here at 81 Speedway. It was Heartland Modified Tour night. It was a great night, beautiful here in the Kansas area, in the Wichita, Kansas area, and we were excited to see all the fans move. Kind of talking about weekly championship points action for Saturday night. Poorman Auto Supply USRA B mods defending champion Slade Moore picks up a win on the 2025 season. He bested some of the best USRA cars in the nation right here at 81 Speedway. Also, Jared Reimer picking up a win for TM Fencing LLC Super Stocks. Bo Davis makes it 4 in a row for Allied Battery stock cars as he is dominant in the 2025 season. So rest of the field going to have to do a little searching to get some speed. Bo Davis been putting it to him. Then we had one heck of a 30-lap A feature for Heartland Modified Tour. Tanner Mullins started on the pole, led all 30 laps, and picked up a $2,000 payday. Making it 7 wins in a row for the driver of the 02 between the modified and the late model. So he is on a tear. They are headed. Most of the USRA cars are either headed down to Joe Duvall's Funkadelic race in Arrowhead, or everyone else is headed up to the US MTS race, and we wish them all the best as we are off racing on Friday at Humboldt. And then, of course, we're going to take in a little monster truck action here at 81 Speedway on Saturday. We got 2 shows slated to that. Those are the 2 gentlemen in the room. So that is racing. That was the last weekend's results here at Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. And then, of course, looking on to May 30th and the 31st. Sooner Late Models are going to join us over at Humboldt Speedway. That's going to be an awesome night, along with weekly championship points action. And then Saturday night, United Rebel going to join the Sooner Late Model Series right here at 81 Speedway for the inaugural Lonnie Smith Memorial. We're looking forward to that one. Of course, that one's near and dear to my heart. Was on tour with Lonnie Smith for the Torah days and spent a lot of time with him, so I'm really looking forward to being part of the memorial here for the Sooner Late Model Series and United Rebel Late Model Series as well. But looking forward to Saturday night. Me and my son got our tickets for monster truck action. It's tracks starting to turn into a little monster truck road course, I guess, out on the front stretch. But Dan and Cameron going to join us here in the Ulick Music Studio. How you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. You guys, of course, Dan drives a shark bite.
Yes, sir.
Cameron works on it. And you guys also do a little car situating and dirt piling. And what'd you guys have going on here today?
Well, you want to talk about it or you want me to?
You can talk about it.
So basically we're in town today. We're just getting the track all set up, getting all of our jumps built, our race course built. So that comes Saturday, these boys can go out with these big trucks and put on a show for everybody.
Yeah. Kind of talk about, Dan, how did you get into the monster truck experience?
Well, it actually started quite a while ago. My son was like 2.5 years old. Went to our first monster truck show up in Minneapolis at the Metrodome, when it was the Metrodome. And he fell in love with it, and we started going to a lot of shows, started going to the World Finals, and I ended up getting to know a lot of the drivers, a lot of the people that, worked on all this stuff, and I ended up getting to know Jimmy and Don Cretin. Then they asked me if I wanted to help them out with driving a ride truck, so I started driving a ride truck about 5 years ago. And I did that for 4 years, and then from there, last year I got asked if I wanted to drive a race truck, and that's a dumb question because absolutely.
Did you have any sort of in motorsports, driving some drag cars or circle track cars or motorcycles, anything?
I actually started. I used to race go-karts, but nothing close to what a monster truck or anything like that. But I got most of the experience for driving a race truck by driving the ride truck, because pretty much it's exactly the same operation with a rear steer, and once you get to learn that, it's just a little faster, a little more horsepower, and a big run, in the race trucks.
Yeah, Cameron, you're I think it's Frankie told me 2-time crew chief of the year for the Monster Jam. Of course, part of the crew chief situation here for 2X Monster Trucks Live. How'd you get into the monster trucks or crew chiefing?
Well, mine's different than Dan. So I was a fan. My kids were fans when my kids were little. We used to go to shows. I've been going to shows. I went to my first show in 1980, and to date ourselves here a little bit how old we are. And so we just started following them, and I decided one day that this is what I always talked about, and I'd never tried it. So back in 2007, to the end of 2006, I actually got a hold of Jimmy. I was from Kansas City. I knew he was from up there, and reached out to him, and they actually hired my brother first. He went in there, started working for him, and I just kind of followed him a little bit and started working in the shop, helping out, just doing the piddly, mundane stuff and nobody else wanted to do. And then when they would leave town, I'd stay behind and clean the shop. And then just started slowly going out to doing a show here and there, and now I live on the road almost 20 years later.
20 years later on the road. Kind of talk about some of the, I guess Monster Jam would be the most well-known, thing for the monster trucks. That'd be like the, NASCAR, I guess, of the monster truck circuit. Talk about some time you spent there.
Well, so, obviously when you're running for Monster Jam, you're running with the big dogs. But you're also running with corporate trucks. And so we were an independent race team. We were competing against big money, but we were competitive. Jimmy always has been, long before I got here. But you found out how good you were with everything, whether it was how the truck ran or how the truck performed or how the driver performed. And you were on the big stage, and we did the biggest shows of the biggest shows. Jimmy was in, I think, 18 different world finals. I was there for 11 of them. He won freestyle in 2005, and then we won racing in 2019. So we're, truck's a 2-time world champion. You learn a lot. You learn how to be precise with what you do. You learn how to be, you want your truck perfect. And that was what Jimmy taught me when I got into it, and that's the mentality I adopted. And so when you're running with them, you're sitting there with Gravedigger and the trucks everybody wants to see win, and there's no better feeling than disappointing them fans and beating them. There really wasn't. When we take the win, especially for freestyle, but we'd beat them in racing. it just didn't get no better than that when people are mad, and I mean, we want our fans to be happy, but I love disappointed Gravedigger fans.
What was the truck's name?
What Bounty Hunter?
Bounty Hunter. Okay. Okay. So that's your hat. That's the hat you got on.
Yep.
Bounty Hunter hat. Okay. Kind of talk about you drove the ride truck for a while, Dan, and then you got talk about how the truck is set up. Kind of talk a little bit about the driving of the truck. How do you kind of maneuver stuff around?
Well, you just gotta the width of the truck. That's the main thing, because you're dealing with 66-inch tires on the outsides. It's 12 foot wide. You can't fit that truck into every little space you think you can. But once you get to learn how wide it is and being able to maneuver with the rear steer, because that's the only thing that makes these things turn a lot better. If you didn't have rear steer, that thing wouldn't turn for nothing. It'd be like taking a block, going around the block, didn't turn. But yeah, once you get the feel of using that rear steer and bringing that truck around, backing it up, I have had a mirror in it so you could actually look back at the person that's directing you. You always want to be safe when it comes to driving the ride truck, especially nowadays. You got so many ride trucks out there. But yeah, I mean, once you get to learn that, I mean, it just transforms right over into the race truck. It's just it's just something you learn by experience.
Now, are you sitting down in the truck, or are you standing up?
Oh yeah, you sit down. It's just like driving a car.
Okay.
The ride truck, all the seats in the back, like one of our trucks is called Knucklehead. It's a pickup truck looking monster truck. It's got 10 seats in the back. Everybody gets belted in with the seat belt. You got people that loading them in the back while you're sitting up in the front. Once they tell you to go, everything's clear, everybody's buckled in, then you just go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Kind of talk about some of the racing that racing that you guys do, some of the obstacle course, or if you're like, the only thing I really have it to reference back to is like Monster Jam stuff,
right,
where you're on opposite ends and you're trying to run a time cycle. Talk a little bit about that sort of course.
You kind of do that too here. I mean, we do different. We try and change it up for us, so the fans see something different. When they come, if they came here before or if they've seen us before, we try and do something a little bit different. You got Chicago style racing, whereas you go in a circle, you end up where you start. Both you go around in just a big circle. You got St. Louis style, you got J-hook style. Just depends on how much room you got on that track to do that kind of stuff. Like here, we're going to do Chicago style because we got the limit of about 75 feet for the front stretch. That's how wide it is. So we got to race two trucks side, on each end, going side by side. They're doing that. Once you got it set up, then you just run it.
So you mentioned a couple different styles. So talk about each one of the styles. Because when you get over to Humboldt,
I guess is where I come in.
You get over to Humboldt. That's a 1/4-mile bull ring. It's a fairly small track, and I'm not exactly sure how the layout works. Because with this situation, it's a little bit different. We're just kind of the host, like
Right.
FOE and 81 Speedway. As people know it, we're not even. Most of us aren't even going to be here. Like some of our concession workers,
Yeah.
I'm going to be here with my son, but I'm the announcer. So normally I'm up in the booth, and,
Right.
and our owners, their daughter just graduated, so they're having a little graduation trip, and so they're like not even in town, right? So the typical Humboldt Speedway, 81 Speedway type group is not going to do. So I kind of explain how the racing, the different styles of racing work. And then, like, if you go to a small track, how does that change it?
Well, what we do is we adopt to our environment. It's as simple as that. And so, like he said, there's multiple different. So if we get to a very large track that, say it's a 3/8 mile or a half-mile racetrack that has a wide open infield, we'll do what he said is what we call St. Louis style. Both trucks start side by side. They go over a big jump. They'll race around. They'll race down. They both turn away from each other, go to a lane on the outside, race back, turn again back inside, and finish over where they started side by side. But you have to have a very, very wide place in order to do that. Then we do like what we're doing here when we have a little narrow area with Chicago style where we can scoot the lanes together. They're facing each other. They take off over the car. They round a turn, which we've got obstacles as our turns. They'll hit the next car, they round the obstacle again, and they both finish over the car where they started. If we get to a real narrow place, we'll do straight line drags where they're just side by side all the way through. So it's all about adopting to what we have to work with. But also, like he said, if we're, we try to do annual events, so we're going back to a place, we don't want to come in and just do the same show every year.
Right.
So we'll come in, like if we come back here next year, we may do straight line drags. We try to change it up so they're seeing a new show every time they come. It's not the same. So it's all about adopting to our environment, working with what we got, space we have, and making sure it's as safe as possible. We don't want anything to happen. We want just people to come out for a couple hours, have a great time, forget about the world for a few, watch a bunch of big trucks and rednecks go out and him haul around, bounce stuff around, and watch trucks do what they're not supposed to do.
Yeah, we had a demo derby here at the track. It's been a couple weeks ago, so we've already started down the redneck type thing with the demo derby.
Oh, yeah.
We had a little bit of fun with that one for sure, but this one's going to be a different level. Kind of more focused at the kid level. Like I got a 5-year-old son, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of his. I'm going to go home and I can just picture it when I pull in the driveway. There's little monster trucks off to my left. There's monster trucks off to my right.
Right.
He's ready to rip. So, talk about some of the fan experience that everyone goes through when they come here Saturday night. Right? We're hoping the whole entire city of Wichita is going to be
we're
here.
hoping everybody shows up.
Is going to be here Saturday night. Talk about the fan experience that everyone has here.
Well, what's nice is we do what a lot of places, like the NASCAR. You don't have access to the drivers. You don't have access to the cars unless you buy a special pass or whatever. It costs a lot of money. Well, here we do what they call a pit party. It's a kind of similar thing, but you get to come out, you get to meet us, you get to be by the trucks right up to them. You can take pictures with us. We give autographs. That's all part of the fan experience, being able to get up close to these huge trucks. And that there alone, just seeing a smile on kids' face, that's what it's all about. It's all about family. Bringing your kid in, them all having a good time, like Cam said. Forget about any problems you got. Just come out and have fun. And that's what we aim to do is please.
Yeah.
So.
What some of the other stuff you talk about, some of the racing and things with the monster trucks. What is some other stuff that we can expect on Saturday?
Well, we do three events. Well, 3 competitions, I would say. All right, we start off with our 2-wheel skills, which we go out, we try and do any trick we can, whether it be a sky wheelie, whether it be a stoppie, slap wheelie. There's different things. All of us are good at something, and you're going to see, trucks do, like Cam said, what we're not supposed to be doing with these things, but we do it. And that
Makes me
there
cringe every time too.
I mean, that there, gets people excited,
Right.
Then after that, we do our racing, where we go head racing. We just do the brackets, just narrow it down until we have a winner, Then we have that. And then after that, of course, everyone's favorite is the freestyle, where we all just go out and just do what you want. Do it, whatever you want. There's nothing scripted. Our boss gives us reins. He says, as long as it comes back and running or in one piece, he's happy. And that's not true either, because I've destroyed my truck and he was happy because the fans loved it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. But I mean, we try and put on a great show, and we normally do. I've really hardly heard any bad reviews. When we get done with the show, everyone comes up because we do an after-show autograph session also, where we'll just sit at tables and sign whatever people want signed. That's what we hear a lot. I mean, the show was great. You guys were awesome. We love hearing that stuff.
Yeah.
But also after, besides just the monster trucks, we got our clown with us, Hot Rod Bobby Cox, who comes out in his little mini monster truck, and he'll goof off and play with the crowd a little bit and have a good time. But then we also have freestyle motocross. So we got a couple FMX riders that'll come in here, and I mean, it's one thing to say we do stuff with trucks we shouldn't, but these kids are just dumb. I mean, these kids are backflipping motorcycles. They're doing it in a train. I mean, they're going one after the other. I mean, no, these kids, their parents have to be so disappointed. This is their career. But they're amazing to watch. But no, they're amazing riders. And so, yeah, we have freestyle motocross as well. So it's not just the monster trucks, so it's a little bit of everything, and it's a nonstop show. The action doesn't stop unless one of these guys sitting upside down, then it's going to stop for a minute. but then you get to watch us flip a 12,000-pound truck back onto its tires, which is fun in itself.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it's a nonstop show, hour 45 minutes, 2 hours of just letting her roll and smell the horsepower.
Yeah. As all racing has there's maintenance, weekly maintenance. Talk about you said you cringe during the freestyle type stuff. So does that add maintenance to it? What's a maintenance schedule look like for a monster truck?
Well, so we have our basic before every show what we call pre-racing a truck, which is going through all the corners. Not when I say going through them, tightening, checking. A lot of people call it nut and bolt. Basically make sure the truck is tight and right, ready to rock. So we go through all the corners, make sure every bolt is tight. We're checking four-link bars, we're checking drive lines, we're checking brakes, checking the oil, tranny fluid. Our job is a 7-day-a-week job. When I say I live on the road, and Dan does too, we're not exaggerating. I mean, we went out earlier this year. Our rigs left. We left the shop. Actually, New Year's Day or the day before New Year's Day. I think we left on New Year's Eve, and our rigs didn't get home till Easter. We were out the whole time, just running shows everywhere, and so it's 7 days a week. There's the fixing of what's broke. There's the maintain, just like a race car. It doesn't always have to be broke to require a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's just stuff you have to go through, and when you're jumping 12,000 pounds, 20 foot in the air, 50 feet out, over and over and over again, gravity and momentum are going to take over, and stuff's going to wear. And so we have to watch that. We got to watch. We run giant third members at ours. We're running third members out of school buses.
Right.
And so those take just a massive beating all throughout. Every weekend and every month. So there's times where we have to go and pull those out, and that's a couple hour project to get a 200-pound rear end out of the truck, just to look at it to make sure it's okay because somebody took a weird hit.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, we have some weeks that aren't bad, but it's just a constant battle. Like I said, it's not different when you guys are out here racing. Our stuff's just heavier.
Yep. I do a weekly question and answer thing with drivers, and so one of my questions is least favorite race car maintenance item. So what would be your least favorite monster truck maintenance item?
Ooh. The truck. Let's just go with that. Or the driver. I mean, monster trucks would be easy if I could just take drivers and gravity out of the equation.
Yeah.
If I take them two things out, them trucks would be fine.
Yeah.
No, I would have to say, well, I mean, when you call it maintenance, you call it a repair, or you call it just something to check?
It could be anything. It could be a repair. It could just be a lot of people say, which be the same thing with the monster truck motor, but changing the oil. Like guys don't like changing the oil in the car because it's just, you're 8,000 RPM for 30 laps. I mean,
Right.
your stuff, it stinks.
Well, and that's kind of, I was thinking changing oil because sometimes you never know what you're going to get when you look at the filter.
Yeah.
Or changing tranny fluid because it's going to stink. I don't care what kind of shape tranny's in, it's going to be burnt.
Yeah.
And so I would have to say those two are probably
at the top.
Yeah, and I'm getting old. I just don't want to crouch down there and do it anymore.
No,
I make the young kids do it.
Yeah.
I stand around and watch a lot.
I just turned 41 a couple weeks ago, and I don't.
You remember 41?
Crouching down.
That was a good age. I was still in shape then.
What kind of motors are in these?
Me too.
Yeah.
Are you going to talk? Or are you?
Well, it depends. I mean, you got the Merlins, you got Chevys, you got 540s.
Yeah. So
They all have a different motor.
Yeah.
So each monster truck that's going to be here Saturday has a little bit different drivetrain setup, or
three of our trucks are running 555 Pontiacs.
okay.
We got a 540 big block Chevy at Bounty Hunter right now. We just blew a motor. Actually, just blew his big Pontiac up a couple weeks ago. So it's got a 540 Chevy. They're all similar in power. I mean, the Pontiacs are obviously about 100 more horsepower or so, 150 more horsepower. But I mean, they're big. They're big chief heads. They're high rise intake. They're stouter motor. But for what we're doing, 1,500 horsepower will do everything we need to do all day long, and that's what that 540's putting out. It'll get that. That Bounty Hunter truck's won more races this year than anybody else on the tour. So that little motor ain't hurting him.
Yeah. What kind of transmissions are you guys running?
2-speed power glides.
Okay, and then of course you have transfer case stuff. What is that transfer case just isn't coming out of a 2500 Chevy truck? What's that?
No,
do?
it's a custom built transfer case by a company called SCS out of Indiana. So we run different size drop box, but it's all set up for a 1-to-1 gear ratio. But then we have a quick change box on the front side of it that we can reduce down. So like most of our trucks are running about what we call 17 unders, which is just to reduce the gear drive. So it's not running a 1-to-1 gear ratio at the transfer case.
Okay.
Because we reduce all the way through. I mean, we reduce at the transfer case, and then when you run a planetary, that's also a 3.5 to 1 gear reduction. That's the only way we can turn these 66-inch tires at the speeds and the rates we do.
Right. So when you say planetary, are you saying third member?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, we run a planetary on our what most people call the hub.
Okay.
So we run a planetary system that's actually off old oscillating forklifts. That's what allows us to run front and rear steering. But the outer hub actually has 3 planetary gears with a sun gear in the middle that runs a gear reduction. And that's what makes it so when the power gets from the third member to the wheel, we're not just snapping. If we were trying to just use our third member to spin that tire, you wouldn't find an axle shaft that could handle it.
Okay.
So we have to reduce the gear ratio out there so that every time the tire, the third member turns, it's turning 3.5 times every one time the tire's spinning around, so that it allows us to build the speed, get the power to the ground, and not destroy everything in the process.
Okay. On the tires, what does a tire weigh?
Go ahead. I'll let you chime in for a minute.
Is it 800 pounds?
Oh, he's going to ask.
Huh?
yeah. With wheel, they're about 800 pounds on the average.
How much air pressure are you running?
So we run about 24 psi.
Okay. Wow, that's not much at all.
It's a low pressure by volume.
Okay. If you had to air up a tire, how long does it take to air up a tire?
Depends on your compressor.
Okay.
If you use one you plug into a cigarette lighter, you're going to be there for about a week.
We now have a gas powered air compressor. It's probably the best thing we've added to our tour about a couple of years ago. But it would probably take about 20 minutes to get up to 24 pounds from flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often are you having to change tires on these?
That just varies. I mean, you can run the same set of tires for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
But what happens is a lot of times if these guys catch an obstacle, like he actually had one a couple weeks ago, where he just was side of a K-rail, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And, he just caught the side of it and it sliced the sidewall. Wasn't
done-
nothing you can do about
donezo.
it. But you slice the sidewall on one of them tires, that tire's done. It's going in a pile.
What does a tire cost?
These tires are about $2,600 a piece.
Oof.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, the boss loves it when he cuts tires.
Yeah.
But he cuts more than us.
Yeah, he's got several on his list for the year so far.
How many monster trucks are traveling up and down the road with you guys?
We have a total of going to be 8. We have 7 now. We normally on a show we have 4.
Okay.
We got
6 if you count 4 race trucks and 2 ride trucks.
Well, yeah. But I mean,
Okay.
race truck wise, yeah, because we have another truck back at the shop, Brutal. They're also making on a brand new Scarlet Bandit. So the old Scarlet Bandit turned into Jekyll and Hyde, which will be here this weekend.
Okay.
Corey Kino will be running that. And then we also got the Dinosaur now, Roaring Rex. Logan Tweedy's running that. And then Jimmy will drive Bounty Hunter, and then I drive the Shark.
Okay. My son's a big Megalodon fan, big shark. So
Mhm.
I told my wife that I got the shark bite driver on tonight. So
Mhm.
I think that they're watching. They haven't chimed in yet on the chat.
What's his name?
His name's Harrison.
Root for the dinosaur. Harrison, just root for the dinosaur.
Well, he's a big dinosaur fan too. So
We just put a brand new motor in the dinosaur, so I'm rooting for him this weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, he did. He got a nice new motor.
kind of going back to the ride truck thing, talk about if a fan's going to go on a ride, what's kind of the experience for the ride trucks.
That's all you there, Buttercup.
Yeah, it is. The thing about the ride truck is that you're going to be standing in line and watching this ride truck go, and you're like, gosh, that ain't doing hardly nothing. But once you get in the back of that truck, I mean, and we don't go that fast. You don't have to, because you're sitting, about 8 feet up in the air. You're up on top of these tires. You're sitting in the back where you're feeling more than what the driver's going to feel, because obviously it's like a merry-go-round. The farther out you are, the more you're going to feel the, G's.
And you're sitting sideways.
Yeah, and you're sitting sideways. So, I mean, once you get in, you get buckled in, you start going. I mean, a lot of people realize, wow, this is not what it looks like when you're standing out there watching it.
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, but it's a fun ride. I mean, there's nothing like climbing a big monster truck and going for a ride, doing a couple donuts. I mean, and it's people love it.
Go for
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So you definitely encouraged to take a ride.
Absolutely.
And the cool thing is we have two different trucks. The Knucklehead he was talking about, but then we have the Redneck Road Trip, was an older style ride truck. It's a leaf spring truck, and it's a minivan. And people look at that one, and they're like,
Okay.
"Oh, I want to ride that one." But then you get that one, and that's the squirrely one. It's short wheelbase, turns fast,
Okay.
So no matter which one you get, you're gonna have a good time. And like he said, you're gonna come out going, "Well, that wasn't what I expected."
Yeah. That's the main thing I got every time someone get off. When you get out, it's like, wow, that was not what I expected. That's what we want.
Kind of going to the freestyle, circling back to the freestyle and the cringe. What kind of a beating, or what's harder on the truck in freestyle, or what's something that takes the most abuse during freestyle?
I would say it's all going to be in your drivetrain, your axle area.
Okay.
It's what's taken. It's the first thing to hit the ground. When the tires hit the ground, all your force is going through the axles.
Yeah.
But if your trucks are set up right, which ours are, we have a great shock guy by the name of Josh out of North Carolina. Works on a lot of the Monster Jam stuff, the Gravedigger stuff, and all that. He builds all of our shocks. So you get a truck that lands right. It all depends on how the truck lands. If a driver hits a jump and the truck goes a little crooked and it comes down on one wheel, obviously that's going to be very rough on that one wheel.
Right.
I would say and you can back this up, but I would say the hardest hit a driver takes is if a truck just completely flat lands. All four tires hit the ground at the exact same time.
Yep.
That's kind of the one that makes your liver quiver.
Oh yeah.
For safety equipment, of course, with Saturday night, with our drivers, it's a lot of them have containment seats, wearing a Hans device, whether it's the shoulder or it's the wraparound, and then a lot of them typically with at least a 2-layer fire suit. There's some people with a 1-layer, which we would recommend you going to Bill's Build or Mel Hamilton Ford and getting yourself a custom 2-layer suit.
Right.
What's the setup for the monster truck?
It's almost exactly the same as what a race car would be, because you're going against the elements of possibly catching fire. I think in my layer suit is a 3-layer suit.
Yeah,
that's what I got. Same Hans device. Bolts to your helmet. Seat we have is 5-point harness. Goes around your legs, goes around your waist, goes around your shoulders. Everything gets strapped in tight. You want to be as tight as you can be and not even be able to almost breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, once you do that and you do these jumps the way we do them, it's amazing that you're with the truck. You don't get so much knocked around as long as you're tightened in. You want to be tight.
Yeah.
If you're not, you get one slap wrong, and it'll sting you.
Do you guys have any sort of communication? Can you talk to him, or?
Yeah, it's usually me throwing my hands up and throwing my hat, and then fan gestures. We used to run communications where we talked to drivers. We did a lot in Monster Jam, but now the guys are getting in and out of the trucks so much, and I'm usually right there, or somebody else right there in the pits. So like the minute they stop, we can check on them, make sure everybody's okay, make sure they're not feeling anything in the truck or you have any problems. But no, they're in and out so much now to do interviews, and the show's kind of moving quick, where they're jumping in and out, that it's hard to do it. So we just go the old fashioned, and like I said, I just scream and throw.
Yeah. Talking about the 2-wheel competition, what is your what is your you said everyone's got a little expertise. What is the shark bite expertise?
Well, I've it's taken a while too. It's not like you learn these things overnight. I mean, my favorite thing is the thing that I've gotten really good at, I think, is stoppies. It's where you kick the truck rear end up, and put her on its nose, walk it forward, possibly walk it back, possibly turn the rear tires. Just it all depends on how much of a good balance you got at the point that you're doing it. It's like I said, it's taken me a long time to get to that point because when we go out, our practice, we don't get to practice during the week. I mean, our practice is at this show.
Right.
So I mean, whatever you do at the show, that's what you're learning from. And it took me a while. I mean, I tipped her over a few times.
Yeah.
Went too far. I busted my nose up. Actually, I did that about 3 weeks ago. Touched the nose too hard and cracked it up, and I had to fix it. I'm the fiberglass guy, so.
See, I say right here on this podcast, we name it. We call it the shark sniff in the dirt.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He's gotten amazing at him, and he'll put the hood of that shark, put the nose right in the ground, and sit there and just walk around. So yeah, I say from now on, it's the shark sniff in the dirt. That's the move.
Talking about the bodies, you mentioned that they're all fiberglass.
Yep.
How many pieces are they in? Are they one piece? Are they 20 pieces? Or
They're all different. The bodies are so like the shark is it's only three pieces.
No,
Or
it's
is it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, that's right. The back is split.
6. Yeah.
Okay.
It's 6 pieces plus the tail comes off, the top fin comes off.
but
to
it's
put it in
all
the truck.
fiberglass.
Yep.
And is it painted or is it wrapped?
Some are wrapped. Jekyll and Hyde just got re-wrapped because he was running an exhibition body. Now he's running a pickup truck, which I think is a lot cooler. Jim just got re-wrapped because he's running a 30th year anniversary. This 30 years he's been doing this, so he's running a special
cool.
scheme.
On the bounty hunter.
Yep,
That's
a bounty
cool.
hunter. The dinosaur is painted. That only has a few stickers, and I had stickers on mine, but I've wrecked so much this last year that it's pretty much all paint now.
Yeah.
For the
Paint.
record, none of them were his fault.
Does the paint keep up better than the?
I think it
wrap?
does, yeah, because, I mean, once you get a wrap that's starting to peel, I mean, there's no stopping it from continuing peeling because we wash these trucks every week.
Mm-hmm.
Every week we're scrubbing, whether it be mud or whether it be dust. But, yeah, I think because I use an enamel-based paint when I'm redoing all my stuff, and it does seem to hold up a lot better.
Because not only is he the track builder, he's also the body guy. He also does a lot of the fiberglass work.
Yeah. Where is home base?
I am actually I used to be from Minnesota, then I moved to Illinois, and now I live in Lawrence, Kansas, which is like 25 minutes from the shop.
Okay.
So the shop is based out of Tonganoxie, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
Is where the team's based out of. But everybody on the team's from different places. I mean, I'm from Oklahoma. We've got guys from California, North Carolina, Maine. Trying to think who else.
Illinois. Logan's from
Oh
Illinois.
yeah, Illinois.
So all the trucks are in one shop.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys aren't far at
No,
all.
This,
from
this
here.
was a nice one. I mean, we've been all over the country already this year, and I mean we've been everywhere from Arizona to California to Vegas to Florida, Alabama, Pennsylvania, and so we actually did not have a show last weekend, so we had to work on the trucks for a couple weeks, and then only have to drive 3 hours. It was fantastic.
Not too bad.
Absolutely.
How many shows are you going to do a year?
We do roughly about 48 shows a year.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's not terrible.
When I say that, I mean 48 weekends.
Okay, because Saturday night's going to be a
I know. So this is
2-day show or
so
a 2-time show.
It's 2 shows this weekend, but we just count the weekend as a show.
Okay.
So we run 48 weekends. We've had 2 weekends off this year. Right now we have one more. We get 4th of July off for the first time in years.
Yeah.
And then we do not have a weekend off until the first weekend or until after the first weekend of December is our last show.
Yeah, we so the owners here, JR and Katie Sartain, and then GM John Allen, all partners in this deal, and John Allen is a racer by heart. Spent a lot of his life racing for a living, and when he partnered with JR and Katie said, "Well, we don't want to race on holidays. Like it's hard to get. People want to go to the lake, people want to hang out with their family. So like Memorial Day weekend, we're closed from weekly championship points racing, 4th of July, the big holiday. So yeah, take a little page out of that book. You guys got to do more.
we normally really don't even take holidays off. Because we came from the racing background before we started getting into the promotion side. We had certain events that we've always done, and so 4th of July was always a big weekend out in California. We'd go do a fair in San Diego, and then do a huge show in Pomona on 4th of July night called Kaboom, which was, one of the most fantastic fireworks shows you ever saw. So this is actually the first year this team will be off 4th of July in probably, I would say, 20 years. But we don't take money. We'll do a show Thanksgiving weekend. We did last year. Me and Dan got to spend Thanksgiving night in a restaurant in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll be probably again this year. But we're going to call ahead for reservations. So we don't have to wait for a table.
Yeah, I can imagine that probably took a minute.
But no, it's I tell people this is not a job; it's a lifestyle. For what we do, because if you like your family, then this is probably the job for you.
Yeah.
My wife don't like me anyway, so I can be gone. She don't care.
What's your favorite destination or track you guys go to?
Well, you got
It's Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, between Vegas and Phoenix,
yeah.
those tracks are phenomenal.
Where
Huge.
are you going? So you're in Vegas. What track are you at?
Las Vegas International Motor
Las
Speedway.
Vegas,
Las
yeah.
Vegas Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the big.
Yeah.
We do the dirt track.
But it's the dirt track that's
right,
there.
right. It's right across the street.
Yeah, they got like a bull ring type thing, but it's all open. There's that is huge. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Same thing with Phoenix. Are you
Phoenix,
close to the big
It's
track?
actually an off-road track. Well, so we do it at Firebird Raceway.
Okay.
We do it at their off-road track.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's a good one.
We were all over that track.
Yeah, you were all over that track, upside down and everything.
Crushing cars is probably like like I said, I just turned 41 at the beginning of May, so that's my era of monster trucks. Bigfoot and just all they did was crush cars. There wasn't the racing thing really wasn't there. It was just kind of an exhibition, little freestyle crushing car type stuff. Does that still resonate with the monster truck crowd, the newer crowd?
No, not at all. So when monster trucks started, it was monster trucks were the side act. They were an exhibition. A lot of tractor pulls is what they got started doing. And so like I said, when I went to my first show in 1980, Bigfoot came out about 4 miles an hour, pulled up onto the cars. It took him a minute, parked on top of the cars and raised his hood up. He had a hydraulic hood that flipped open. And it was the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life. If you did that now, you would have stuff thrown at you. If he pulls shark bite out there and parks on a car and just waves, no, people want to see the trucks fly. They want to see the trucks, they want to see them in the air. They want to still hit cars. You do a show without cars and it just doesn't feel right. And sometimes we have to, because we do a lot of rodeo arenas. And so they'll say, hey, don't bring in cars. They don't want to take a chance of any of our small stuff getting in the dirt and damaging one of the horses, and so we do it. So we go in and we build like an all dirt track, and it's cool. You can still put on a great show, and it's actually sometimes holds up because the dirt holds up better than the car does. It doesn't crush. So if we do multiple shows in a weekend, the dirt will last, and so the first truck going out's hitting the same thing the last truck's hitting when they go out. The exact same obstacle. There's no difference, with the car fluctuating, but. Just that smashing of a car, it's just, there's nothing will ever top that. You can't hit nothing else. That's just the coolest thing, watching a car just get disintegrated.
Yeah, like I said, that was my childhood, so that's kind of what I'm, what I'm into, or, that's what I remember seeing. But the racing stuff and the freestyle, that's pretty cool. Of course, we've been to Intrust Bank Arena with the Monster Jam, taking me and my brother-in-law, my nephew and my son, we all went and we had a good time, but me and my brother-in-law were talking, we're like, we remember when they just crushed a bunch of cars out there, just the crushing machine at the salvage yard wasn't around. We got the monster trucks out there and took care of that kind of stuff.
That's what I always tell salvage yards when I'm looking for junk cars for an event. I'm like, just find me the stuff you want to crush and we'll take care of it. You can have it back, take it to the scrapyard.
Yeah.
We'll cut out the middleman for you.
Yeah. You got a couple of cars sitting out there that would have been perfect for our enduros or our demo derbies. So some people are going to cry a little bit when they see them out
Yeah,
there.
we got some nice big ones here. It's been a while since
Oh,
we've had
yeah.
this many big cars, and we're kind of excited. They'll hold up nicely.
Where did you get the cars?
Now I wish you wouldn't ask me that because I'm not the one that got them. So,
Okay.
but we will announce them on Saturday multiple times to thank them for helping us out.
Okay. Well, hopefully you got them from our friends up the street, Broadway Truck and Auto Salvage. But I guess we'll have to wait till Saturday to see for sure. That's all I got, guys. I want you to take this time. I got to thank Frankie for getting us all hooked up. She worked real hard on this. I bugged the crap out of her because I kind of want to answer,
Right.
but I know you guys are busy doing a great job, so I got to thank her. But talk about your sponsors, your supporters. If you got some social media stuff, shout that out, and kind of just cap off the show.
You going or am I going?
Sure,
Again?
I can do that.
Okay. You need sponsors.
We got one of our big sponsors. Obviously, is our lubricants. Is High Performance Lubricants out of Illinois. We actually just did. That was our last show up in Peatone, Illinois. They provide us with all our lubricants, whether it be the oil, whether it be transmission fluid, cleaning, stuff. We got Ultra Muscle. They supply all that to us, so that's awesome. We also got Hughes Transmissions, and they're out of Phoenix. They do all our transmissions, whether it be our ride trucks, race trucks, everything we've got from them, and they hold up very well. You also got who else?
Hooker Harness. You got Hooker Harness that makes all of our seat belts and our limit straps, and then Power Master, they do all of our alternators for all of our race trucks and our ride trucks. So we got some good ones that take good care of us.
I guess I got one more question. Truck chassis. Who are you guys building these truck chassis, or are you buying them? How does one come across a monster truck chassis?
Well, so we used to buy them all. We actually run three different styles. Dan Patrick, if anybody ever follows monster trucks, had a truck called Samson. Well, still does for years and years, and he has a company called PEI. A couple of our chassis are from him. There's a gentleman by the name of Tim Carroll out of California. It's got Carroll Racing Designs. The truck Dan drives is his. But the brand new Scarlet Bandit that we're building is actually in-house. Jimmy and Dawn's son-in-law is an engineer, and Jimmy's an engineer, and so we've got a laser now and all this, so we were able to laser cut all the parts, and he went in and CAD designed and 3D printed a chassis design that kind of takes a few different styles and combines them and then tweaked a few things. So yeah, this brand new Scarlet Bandit truck, when we say brand new, there's not a used part on this truck, or not going to be when we finish it. But yeah, it's 100% custom built by us chassis.
Wow. What kind of body is it going to have?
Be a Ford Expedition, which she's always run.
Okay. When is that one going to debut?
It should be out in July.
Okay. So not too far out.
No, they're actually today they were finishing up a few things on the chassis, so the chassis can go to powder coat. So
nice.
Hopefully we'll have that back in a few weeks and start putting her together.
Nice. Well, guys, I want to thank you for agreeing to join me here tonight. I know you guys have been busy on the track, and you still got some work to do to get ready for Saturday. But looking forward to it. Me and my son are going to be here for the night show to kind of take it in, and I'm looking forward to it. And of course, he just hadn't slept for the last 3 or 4 days, so he's ready to rip too. So I want to thank you guys again for being here, and I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be fun. And I'm really hoping that all of Wichita show. There's not a hotter ticket in town than Saturday right here for the monster trucks at 81 Speedway. So again, thank you guys very much. I really appreciate you joining me. Looking forward to seeing you Saturday night, and me and my boy, we're definitely going to get in a ride truck. So take it off.
Absolutely. I appreciate you asking us to come and do this.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see everybody Saturday.
Yep. Thank you very much for spending your Thursday night with us here for Above the Cushion. Want to thank everyone with 2X Monster Trucks Live, and Saturday night right here at the Speedway is going to be an absolutely fantastic time. We hope you can join us. Still time to buy tickets. Follow the link on the 81 Speedway Facebook page, and Humboldt Speedway, they're headed your way as well. May 31st, they're going to be right over there on a Saturday afternoon at Humboldt Speedway, so we're looking forward to having them with us at the Hummer. Appreciate each and every one of you for spending your Thursday night with us. We look forward to seeing you at the Monster Trucks. But until then, we will see you next Thursday night as we're going to head on into a late model weekend here at the Speedways. We're going to have a special guest, hopefully in studio with us, to talk about the Lonnie Smith Memorial as well as the Sooner Late Model Series as they do a double header for Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. Until then, thank you very much, and we'll see you next Thursday night.